Welcome to ADTV. On tonight's program, we're going to take an in-depth look at DK, the most popular rock band of their time. How they rose to the top of the charts, their inevitable fall to rock bottom, and where they are now. But first, a quick word from our sponsors.
This just in. Yesterday, the skies were partially cloudy with a 30% chance of afternoon showers. Keep your fingers crossed, it may have rained. Snow expected eventually. Back to you.
Welcome back to ADTV. Join me now as we slither our way down DK's digestive tract and take a look at the band that became DK. 10 years ago, DK was just getting started, playing small venues and jamming out in each other's garages, making a pretty good name for themselves as the Doorknobs. The band consisted of 4 members, Isaac, John, Freedom, and Alex. The guys had a pretty decent fan following going. All the small clubs that they played were sold out every time. The merchandise that they had was selling great. The CDs were doing very well. Things were looking up for the band. Behind all of their success as the Doorknobs, the band members' families stood by them through thick and thin, no matter what came their way. Come with us as we visit with some of the band members' families. Now remember, they've been through a very traumatic time, and some of them have come out a bit special.
We've always tried to keep our boys healthy, fruits and vegetables instead of candies. But lately it's been so hard. Isaac just eats everything now. Just last week I had to throw muffins at him to keep him off my niece's daughter's son. No! No, not muffins! Muffins! Our poodle! It's just so hot.
I used to look up to my brother Freedom. We had so much fun jamming out in the garage. Damn it, Freedom! God, every time! I just don't know.
John was a wonderful child. He was bright. He always made straight A's. He never used to get in any trouble. He and his friends used to practice in my garage from time to time.
That's nice. So tell me, what do you think of your son being a zombie?
He's not a zombie. He's life-challenged.
Life-challenged?
That's a politically correct term for John's condition.
Your son doesn't have a condition, pal. He's dead.
Death can happen to anyone. At least John went out and did something after his death. Most people who die just lie around all day.
Right. Now, the one thing that the group just couldn't attract enough of was attention from a major record label. They were on constant tours around the country, sold out club shows everywhere. But they always seemed to stay below the radar until they met with some very important people. And coming up next, the major turning point for DK.
Vas a pagar con tu vida, eh? I'm not playing around this. I gotta go. I'll talk to you later. You need money for colegio? No tienes credit? No problema, eh? Mafia student loans got you covered. Check out one of my clients, eh?
I had bad credit, no job, and no one to turn to until I found Mafia student loans. Thanks to them, I'm now back on my feet. Is that alright?
110% is highly competitive, eh? Call now, man. 1-900-555-MAFIA. $3.99 for the first minute, $1.99 after that, Holmes.
You're gonna pay, man. No! One way or another.
Welcome back to ADTV. Continuing our trip, we pushed through the stomach and splashed a little acid on DK's major turning point, their record deal with SUNY Entertainment. For years of fruitless effort, of touring the country in countless shows, they never got recognized until one day when a SUNY representative happened to pop in one of the local shows. Instantly, they were skyrocketed to fame and fortune. At least that's what they thought.
For a local band, the Doorknobs are doing pretty well for themselves. People are loving their music, and one day an agent from SUNY Entertainment came along and offered them more than I could ever dream of. So I encouraged them to go with the better deal. I mean, I wasn't just their manager, I was their friend too, you know? But then SUNY started making them do horrible songs. They got fed up with the contract and decided to kill themselves.
Kill themselves?
Yeah, they had this crazy theory that people would remember their old songs. They thought that death would skyrocket their popularity like Tupac and that Biggie fat guy. I'm actually glad everything happened the way it did. I mean, I'm still alive. I can't say much for their SUNY-appointed managers. Serves them right.
After months of the band suffering through the control of the SUNY production managers, they decided to take that step and commit suicide to break their contract. But little did they know that SUNY Entertainment contracts were unbreakable, even in death. So 2 weeks after their funerals, SUNY acted and invoked the resurrection clause in their contracts. Excuse me? Hello? Is this your first time? My God, why don't you get a professional in here? I'm working with bloody amateurs. It's ridiculous. I'll call my agent. So tell me, what happened here?
It was terrible. First, we saw this guy standing back over there in the middle of 4 graves, and he was reading out of a book that looked like Resurrection for Dummies.
I don't think so. It looked more like a self-help book to me.
No. Then the ground started shaking like crazy, and we heard this creepy horror movie music, and
I didn't hear any music.
yeah, there was music. Anyway, then they rose up out of the ground and started eating the guy with the book. It was disgusting.
What happened next?
I don't know. Seemed like a good time to leave.
At least we can agree on that.
All right, we're going to try to talk to Isaac's parents once more. Let's see how that goes. Well, I guess that's not gonna work. Anyway, well, due to the fact that SUNY Entertainment hired a necromancer instead of a licensed resurrectionist, the entire band came back as zombies. They spent the first year out of the grave, so to speak, in rehab, trying to get ready for their national tour. While the band was still in rehab, they managed to cut their first album, and appropriately, they renamed themselves DK. Now, due to some fantastic promotion, that CD was sold out before it ever even hit the shelves. It went to the top of the Billboard music charts in record time, jump-starting their reign over the world of rock. And DK's accomplishments when we return here on Beyond the Music.
This just in. The Oprah Book Club for Gladiator Midgets is holding their annual Midgets Can Be Champions 2 competition this week. Don Imus might refer to the competitors as Nappy Hoed Midgets, which coincidentally is one of the team names. Back to you.
Look, I don't need to be wasting my time doing these ridiculous Artist Digest documentaries. I mean, for Christ's sakes, I played in Hamlet on Broadway. Yes, I only played a castle guard. No, I didn't have any lines, but it was a very important part. And who are you to be judging my work? Look, all I'm saying is you find something else, or I will find someone else. Okay, thanks, Mum. That's all I wanted. Look, I gotta go. I'm back on. Yes, I'll be there for dinner on Sunday, I promise. Okay. Yeah, kisses, bye-bye. Mum. Welcome back to Beyond the Music on ADTV. Prior to our necessary advertisement interruption, we uncovered the miraculous events that led to DK's unrivaled popularity. Now, I've heard of some binding contracts in my day, but that one shanks the weasel. As DK grew in popularity, the nominations and awards just piled up. They won 6 American Music Awards in 2003 alone. one for Best Choreography, one for Best New Artist, and one for Breakout New Album. They just kept piling up the awards, MTV Music Awards, until finally they actually dedicated an award to them in their honor, the Best Dead Band of the Year. They were the first and only to win this award for quite some time until they were succeeded by Rob Zombie himself. They were awarded Single of the Year at the Billboard Music Awards. And they also walked away with 3 Grammys, one for Song of the Year, one for Album of the Year, and one for Breakout Artist of the Year. Now, while still on top of the charts, the group had a Saturday morning cartoon dedicated to their name, called the DK Gang, where they focused on mundane, everyday problems in regular society. But unfortunately, the show only aired a few times due to some graphic violence and some vulgar language.
Susie, I got you this.
Why, little Billy, whatever is the matter?
I tried to give Susie a Valentine, and she laughed. I wish Valentine's Day had never existed.
Oh, Billy, what a horrible thing to say. Do you know the history and significance of Valentine's Day?
No?
Well, Billy, Valentine's Day started a long time ago, when Claudius II of Rome needed soldiers for his military. Claudius the Cruel, as some historians have dubbed him, decreed that all marriages should be canceled. He thought the men didn't want to leave their wives. However, a priest named Saint Valentine secretly married several couples during this time, starting what we now know as Valentine's Day.
Wow. What happened to him?
He was beaten to death and decapitated.
Oh.
But the point, Billy, is that Valentine's Day is about true love, even when things are their darkest and most lonely.
So, how can I get Susie to like me?
Sometimes it's all about the right gift.
Like, oh my god! An actual heart from DK? Ah, I love you, DK!
You son of a bitch!
Well, apparently, we're having a little trouble tracking down the first, second, and third SUNY appointed manager. It says they found some bits and pieces, but that's about it. But that's okay, because we also tracked down a couple of guys that work close at hand with the band. And luckily, they still have all their limbs.
Yeah, when you asked me to do this tour, I thought that the whole zombie thing was just a gimmick. But I learned quickly that these guys were real. Seriously, I toured with some crazy cats, but these guys were insane. You know, it was like, when they threw themselves on stage, that would be the end of it. We would have to pass out waivers at the front door, so SUNY wouldn't be liable for any limbs or lives lost. I've just never seen so many one-armed people in one spot. It was like being at a prosthetic limb convention.
I thought it was just a normal gig. I mean, I've trapped possums, coons, even a squirrel or two, but this is my first time ever had to ring with some zombies. For the first show, I had to chain them to the stage just to keep them from getting away from me. Really had no choice. Fans only knew what those zombies really wanted to do to them. No one would come within a mile of the concert. The good part was I got paid a little extra for my time. Didn't have any security. After a couple fans got within striking distance, there was no need. It was like throwing a cow in a blender without the lid on, hitting the frat button. I remember we did this thing down at Ozfest, caught up to a tour in Dallas. We were taken to the stage just before the man himself was coming on. Everything was going good until they did something no one expected. They tore into those teddy bears. It was just gross. Needless to say, we weren't invited back.
When those guys came on the stage and started tearing into those teddies, well, the face was all over the place, man. I mean, I could have followed that with anything I could come up with. I mean, it's just like the time I was trying to make it, put a thing the way it was. Sharon! I gotta find a band, get out of it!
I just can't imagine why they wouldn't be invited back. And how about that Aussie? He sure has a way with words, huh? Well, when we return, we'll take a look at the events that unfolded that led to DK's fall from favor with their fans, and in turn, the entire rock community.
This just in. The dinosaur Tyrannosaurus rex has been genetically linked to the present-day chicken. A Kentucky Fried Chicken spokesperson was quoted saying, "Thank God the T-Rex is extinct. With a 40-foot-tall bucket of Tyrannosaurus wings, just imagine how big the drive-through window would be." Back to you.
Welcome back to ADTV. As we push through the large intestine, we come up to the band's second year of topping the charts, when tragedy strikes the band. One day, while the band was in between tours, John and Isaac managed to overpower the zombie wrangler and break out of the SUNY compound in Los Angeles. And running wild in the streets, they came upon one man that they never reckoned on finding, Chen Li Wu-Tang Chan, the greatest kung fu choreographer in all of Hollywood. And John and Isaac thought it would be a good idea to eat him. He wasn't having that. So as they went to attack him, Chen Li decided to lay the smack down and let him know exactly who their daddy was. Isaac decided to jump in, but was quickly relieved of both his arms. John swooped in to help his friend, but was quickly relieved of his voice box as Chin ripped it out. Luckily, both of the members were undead and didn't actually die from the tragic event. Just so happens that the paramedics showed up just at the right time and were able to sew back on Isaac's arms. But unfortunately, John's voice box was lost forever. What were you thinking when you decided to attack Chan? Not lately. We also managed to set up an interview with Chan to get his side of this whole thing. So tell me, what were you thinking when you ripped out John's voice box? So, do you feel bad about essentially ruining DK's music career?
当然 OK 啊，这个是多一个啦，不了，过，看不Kiko啦。
I guess that's a no.
Hey, car, do you can't get a sword para allá, do I? Give me that, chiva. Pero decido. 当然 OK 啊。
SUNY kept things quiet about John's accident for as long as they could, and sent DK along for the rest of their tour as planned. However, John was forced to lip sync. As soon as the Death and Dismemberment tour was over, they returned back to the SUNY compound to record a new album. SUNY had already located another vocalist to take John's place on the album by this time, and brought him in to record the album's vocal track. But just days before the album is due to be released, someone leaks to the press about the substitution, and DK was ruined. The album was a complete flop, and the fans turned against him.
I can't believe they would stoop so low. I mean, I was so dedicated to them. I lost my arm to support their music, and how do they repay me? With lip syncing? God, get real.
What made you try to pass off another singer's music as your own? That's tragic. Up next, we'll see where the band is now, but first, a short break. Welcome back, one last time for the final installment of this program. Now we're going to give Isaac's mother one more chance to contribute something to this program and try to convince us that she's not completely crazy. Are you kidding me? 3 interviews and all she did was cry, and you're still cutting it into the program? Give me a break. Well, anyway, I bet you're wondering where DK is now after their SUNY contracts expired. Well, it took a little digging, pardon the pun, but we caught up with the fan club president. Apparently we're having some technical difficulties. That was supposed to be the drummer's contact. But no worries, on we go. We spoke to a judge in Texas who informed us that John is doing very well. He's working for the Texas Department of Corrections Zombie Division. He's helping out and became a form of execution in the state of Texas. He's saving him a load of money and a load of time as well. I wonder what that guy did to deserve that. Anyway, we move on now to the bass guitarist Freedom. He's actually doing very well, and he actually has his own cooking show now.
From the drive-by capital of beautiful Southern California, Death Jam Productions proudly presents Cooking with Freedom!
Changing eating habits one show at a time. What a great cat. Well, the last member, he actually took the whole band by surprise. Alex, the lead guitarist. He invested his money well and is now the richest zombie on the planet. Good for him. Well, that's it for tonight's show. Join us next time as we take an in-depth look at the band Animal Crackers. Yummy cookie or tortured animal? We'll see you soon. Yeah, Mom. Oh, you got something else for me? What you got? A book reading on PBS? Are you serious? What? Okay, how much does it pay?
Okay.